Alright, this next part can get kind of complicated, so I'm going to keep it as simple as I can. This is my wonderful art skills of a cylinder with a airflow. Now, you will notice that no matter how you rotate the cylinder in relation to the airflow, because it is a cylinder, it is wonderfully symmetrical. Air only ever has, like, assuming the lines are equal, right? Um, it doesn't have any additional force created the side of the air flowing over it, right? There's no lift created by this object unless it's spinning, which is a different case that I'm going to cover later. We have some numbers pulled around. These are hard to find, experimentally derived, and calculated for specific Reynolds numbers, and I'm not interested in doing that kind of math. Um, but if you go digging around enough, you can find some Reynolds numbers that are very close to each other that we can compare across these shapes. So we have about Reynolds number of 90,000, very close to 10 to the fifth. And here's a range of coefficient of drag based on a length to diameter ratio between 1 and a limit at infinity. So, not terrible, right? But not great either. For about the same Reynolds number for an ellipse, we can get a coefficient of drag from 0.03 to 3 based on if it is, effectively longer than it is wide, and about a ratio from, 1/8 as long to about, over twice as fat. That's because as you're looking at the arrow and it's flying down at an angle, that cross section of the shaft is always some form of an ellipse. So the shaft normally experiencing the wind is going to look more like this than it will the flat cylinder. So this is a more fair comparison. And here is the much harder to find data on a flat plate with parallel flow. Closest I can get as comparison is 10 to the 6th Reynolds numbers, and they're much better. At a 10 to the 5th Reynolds number, these would be a little higher, but they're still doing a lot better, and it's partly because that cross-sectional area is so tiny. When you have the angle of attack here that can create lift, your drag isn't necessarily based on this exposed cross-sectional area because of how the air attaches. Now, it is definitely the biggest influence on it, but it's not a one for one.